and pros and cons about raising children. Hopefully you guys will enjoy this. This is something that I've done a couple videos of this before, and I'm doing this one again only to bring up a couple topics on my end that I failed to talk about before. Raising children here is great. Having a child here, whether it's your child by blood or child by marriage, it's all positive either way, very much so. I was setting up my phone over here. Is the reason I keep doing that. So sorry about that, guys. So, some people call it trial and error when you're raising children. Make sure you and your wife are on the same page as far as discipline goes, because your wife may not agree with the type of discipline that you come from. Because, for example, when we were children, if we did something wrong, my mother and father would spank us. And was it bad? I don't know. It was all right. I got through it fine. There's never really too many problems or anything about that. I mean, I ended up fine. So did my brothers, and so did my boys. They ended up fine. But after a while, that's how you learn, right and wrong. So many people don't really realize that your parents, it hurts them more than you whenever you spank a child. But make sure you're on the same page here, because not everybody is on the same page, because sometimes Filipina and their families may not agree with the way you raise the children. But then again, too, it's between you and your wife. It's not necessarily family involved in it. Children here are basically the same as they are anywhere in the world. Are they any smarter than the children when we were growing up? Are they? Do you find that they're smarter, or do you find that the children are the same as it was when growing up? Well, I tend to say they're the same. And what I mean by that is we had a lot of smart children. We had some very smart children growing up, meaning when I was in school, they could draw, they could do just about anything. Children, I think, in general, are smart. We had some child prodigies. I know in my area, I know that one was a genius, really. I mean, she was just phenomenal. I mean, she could, at a young age of 5, she could play the piano, and she could play a guitar, and she could play any instrument. She had never had a problem with anything. When she went to school, she was honor all the way. And even when graduation, I remember in my junior, excuse me, she was really into music and things like that, art, and any math problem she could solve. She was just that way. But even I had many classmates could draw, and just like they are here. Many children that could do just many different things. Are the children really here hard to get to know? They are in some cases. Yeah, they're shy. They're timid. They're introverted. Sometimes by you speaking, they get scared and they don't want to come around you, or they're too shy to even come and bless you or hug you. And they'll do it, but after they get to know you, like anything else and anybody else, you have that bond in that relationship with them. I know that was that way with R in the beginning. She didn't want to come around me. She was shy. She didn't want to come with us. She didn't want to do anything. Now, she's ready to go. She is. You tell her we're going somewhere, man. Her clothes are on and ready to go that second. So she's really that way. She's not a. She speaks her voice, or does. She learned that early on, that you need to speak your voice. If you disagree, it's okay. If you don't agree with something, it's okay. But then again, the right and wrong, you don't do that again. If I tell you to come home a certain time, you come home. If I, like that. So we set those ground rules early on, and she's done a really great job of doing it. I could not ask for a better daughter. I really could not. She has really done everything that she could, and she does everything for me now. Now, of course, she's a teenager, and she'll complain, but that's normal, So sometimes getting to know your child, you need to get to know your child, but you get to know them as parents, not as your friends. So many Filipinas here gets to know their children as friends. And what I mean by friends is They want to be friends with them. They want to tell them, okay, I'm your friend and this and that. And sometimes that's probably not a good idea because when you tell them to do something, they tell you no, or I'm not doing that, and things like that. You don't want to go down that road. You need to be a parent. Um, most children want love. They want to be loved. And they want to be held. They want to have that bond. Sometimes children will shy away, like I said, but then once they get to know me, they're actually hanging off of me. They literally are hanging off of me. I went to church the other day. Excuse me. Did a sermon. I'm sorry about that. Did a sermon, and a couple of the boys were just hanging on me, just literally pulling on my shirt and hanging on me. They wanted the love and the bonding. And it's not as if they're getting it from their parents, of course, but it's just they want that bonding. And that's the culture itself is like that. They love to be talked to and teased and everything else. And of course, here in the Philippines too, school is very important to children. Most children like going to school because it gives them knowledge and they can do things. Most kids, some kids drop out of school at 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. And they drop out because depending on their family, depending on their needs, depending on their poverty level, depending on life. Sometimes they have to go work out in the field and make money for the family. I mean, think about it this way. Father's making 150, 200 peso a day out in the field, so it's mama and maybe the daughter, and you get another son involved, it adds income. So instead, they're making, instead of making 1,500 or 2,000 a week, they're making that little more because of having the son in the field. And it matters. It matters so much because not all families have 1 or 2 children. A lot of families have 3, 4, 5, 6 children or more. So you have to keep children busy too. Most important thing, you have to keep children busy. If they're idle and things like that, that's when things happen and they get in trouble and they do other things they shouldn't be doing. That's the reason sports is very important. Sports is here. They have sports here, but it's really not highly recognized. They will have sports. You can go play sports. You can be on a team, but they really don't have any kind of schedules or kind of games. Maybe basketball, really good, but you don't find a lot of girls just jump for joy going playing basketball. They'll play the volleyball or badminton, but then the games there's really no schedules. They'll practice and maybe have a game on a Saturday or something, but really it's just something to do for that hour or so. Now, physical education is something that they really try to do here, but they really don't have what they call PE, is what we're used to having PE, physical education in U.S. We would run, well, it's a class. So you would have that hour and 10, however long your classes were. Mine were hour and 10. And we would run. We would literally run or play basketball, baseball, whatever the coach wanted us to do or the PE teacher wanted us to do it that day. Sometimes we would be in lifting weights as boys. And the girls had their own coach. They would be playing volleyball and or running and or soccer. And there's many things. There was many things. They had badminton. They had golf. Girls could play golf. And I tell you what, some of the girls were really good golfers. They had boys golf also. But they were really good golfers. They had swimming. They had a swimming pool in my school. And so some chose that. But it was special. You could only be a swimmer. You had to really know how to swim, number one. Number two is that was like really special to be able to swim because everybody wanted to go swimming. You know, during school, yeah, man, I'll go swimming for an hour. You better believe it. But that was just limited few, you know, like swimming team, things like that. Like I said, you have to keep them busy. You have to keep them doing something. Sports is something that they really, really need to enhance on here. And I actually, and it's tough on the teachers here. The teachers really do a good job. It's tough on the teachers. I mean, they can have a lot of students per class, and they really try to do a good job. But it can be tough. But even your child coming home from school, and you're teaching your children, and maybe homework. they have homework. Well, like, or she goes to school at 6 a.m., catches the car. We have door-to-door service. Car to go to school, and it's dropped back off here at school. She leaves at 6, and she arrives at 6:30 or 7. Now I have rules that she goes to bed at 8:30 every night because of her at school. She has to get up at 4:30 or 5 to get ready for school to leave at 6. So, and there's breakfast, and you got your clothes and all the stuff she has to do, and your uniforms. Make sure it's ironed and all that. So, I want her to always get to sleep. As you know, children perform a lot better in life. Their attitude's better, and they actually grow better when they get good sleep. Their health is better, and they actually grow in a body and strength and life. And people don't realize that it's that thing that you have to have. So I know that for me, that was important. My father started us doing that as a young man, and we always excelled at just about anything we did because we got plenty of rest. Even though we didn't want to go to bed at 8 o'clock every night, we went to bed at 8 o'clock every night. I remember going to my father, Dad, I'm 15, 16 years old. Why are you making me still go to bed? He said, because you're going to thank me one day. And you know what? When I turned 19 or 20, I went to my father and I said, thank you for that. He said, what? I said, make me go to bed at 8 o'clock every night. And he did. He made us go to bed at 8 o'clock every night, no matter what time we got home. If we got home at 6 or 6:30 because I had football or baseball, whatever, track, I would sometimes we would get home to 6 and he'd get home at 6:30. And I better be sitting at the table clean, hair combed, shower, and ready to eat. And we were. Sure, sometimes I was late. But we, in general, had that rule, as you know, family dinners. Now, here, necessarily, they may not have what they call a family dinner. That they have them, but kids eat, they take off, go in the room with a plate or go somewhere else, things like that. But we all, culture. And a lot of raising the children is a cultural thing, too, is what I mean is sometimes the parents, it's kind of let the children do what they want to do. Depending on the parent. I know that Ruth has always had a strong emphasis on R going to bed on time, eating well. I know that R went to bed later than she does now when I arrived. But really overall, Ruth had a true hand in her upbringing. She needed something, Ruth was there. She needed pad, pencil, whatever it was. She's her health. She makes her take her vitamins. She's really a good mother and stern on her that way. And actually, you could tell by R herself. She can cook, she can clean, and she's been able to do that since she was 7, 8 years old. She knows how to make rice. She can cook any dish in the world. I don't care what it is, she can cook it. Now, she can even clean fish and cook fish. You want it grilled, do whatever you want, she can cook. And it's very rare to even see even the U.S. child be able to do that themselves, honestly. I mean, some do their laundry, some don't. But I know that when my boys, that's what they did. They did their laundry. They got a certain age, they do their own laundry. Because as boys, you got all their gear and football gear and everything else. And, I'm not cleaning all those uniforms. You kidding me? So they would do that. And the thing, too, R does her own laundry. She cleans her room. She has things that she does. That's mandatory. But then again, too, it teaches them. And she gets to do it rest of her life, So school activities. They have what they call many school activities here. And the school activities, they're really, really great activities. But a lot of them what they call pageants, pageant clothes, showing the festivals. They're what they call their criteria, meaning their background, their genealogy, their lifestyle, because depending on what tribe they came from, they do that. They dress up and put on the uniforms. They just had United Nations, and they got to pick whoever they wanted to be, and you dress up in that attire, and you go into a pageant. And they have a lot of those here. Sometimes too many, I think, but it's not my call, and I'm not doing it, so it doesn't matter either way, right? So I think overall, I think it's really kind of really a good thing. It's a good thing to school about that. But they don't, as I said, they do need school, and all kids need school. They need some type of uh, things to keep busy. And I think overall, kids here, raising kids, can be a challenge, and it has to do with the cultural differences. It's a challenge for cultural differences. Your wife and you may not agree on the cultural differences. And what I mean is, you may think this way, and she's going to think this way. You got to have that anywhere you go in any relationship. But really, overall, a lot of times what happens is well, we did this way, and we do it this way. And so you got to compromise sometimes, because if you don't, you may find yourself, excuse me, you may find yourself in a situation where the child feels that, and you want the child to feel that warm and good feeling of doing it, learning, and doing a good job learning. I want to thank everybody for always watching my videos, and I want to thank everybody coming on today's podcast. It's a little shorter than I thought it would be, because normally I can ramble on for 30, 45 minutes, but I wanted to talk about this today. Had some people ask me about schools and children and raising children, because we have quite a few guys coming over that are going to have ready-made families. And, of course, they sure may want to have a child, but some are planning not to have children, and they wanted to know they're coming into a family that they already have children at a young age. And young meaning anywhere from 2 years, 3 years, 4 years and up. And the girl, of course, is not married. Some in some instances are not married, and they have 2, 3, 4 children, which that's life. And you cannot judge or done for that situation, because that's life and that's the way things are. Because I know that if I was a female, I'm looking for a male and everything is fine, and I have a child, and then I have child 2 by a different man, it just works out that way, because not everybody is who they seem in the beginning, and you really find that out after 6 months of being with them, or a year. And you want to please the guy in that instance. But I surely don't blame these wonderful ladies here for getting in those situations, because they do a great job. And I tell you what, a Filipina herself will always take care of you and make sure that you're okay. If you're a man, if they will take care of you, that their responsibility, and they will do that. A true, I'm talking about whether it's a city girl or province girl. I like the province girls, man. For me personally, I should do a video on that. In fact, I think I'll do a video on that today. City girl or province girl. Are there any difference? Well, to me, they are. Now, the city girl's going to get mad at me for saying, well, I do that, I do that, I do that. But I like the reason I say that is, not every city girl is a city girl. Some of the province girls come from the province to the city, so they know how it is. But I'm talking a city girl born and raised in the city and never left the city, and has that different. And there are different girls like that, believe me. God bless everybody. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys next time on Tom and Ruth Podcast.